Hey guys, it's SD, your host of the Life Picks Relationship podcast, where people with all sorts of backgrounds, challenges, and life experience show us how they make their relationship extraordinary. Hey guys, hope you're having an awesome day and began applying 3 rules of marriage from the previous episode and are seeing a change in your relationship. I'm super excited for today's guest, another couple. Yay! I know you guys love couples, so we are trying and more are coming. And here we have today a really awesome one, Shannon and Andy Parola. Thank you so much for being here, Shannon and Andy. You want to start by telling us what you do?
I've been a career nanny my whole life, the last 15 years, and I just pivoted to become opening my child care coaching and nanny mentoring. And I also am the founder of the Game and Nerds.
I'm Andy Parola, Shannon's husband. That's how people know me best. And I
one second, I want to interrupt you. Does that make it feel like you're not your own person?
No, I just mean that because she got us this particular conversation set up. So I feel that she is the leader of the family in many ways. She keeps the house under control. And if it weren't for her, then I don't know where I'd be, because there's many things she's done to support me. But so maybe that's why I feel that way. Just want to make sure people know that she's very important to me.
She's the one that gets you to do everything and supports you and everything. So if not for her,
she is the main driver. If it weren't for her, we'd be sitting on our butts all the time doing nothing, because I'm a lazy.
Well, it'll be 15 years. We've been together in December. We've been married 4 years this October. Mm-hmm. So our relationship the last 15 years has been like a wild ride of just ups and downs and loop-de-loops. So I think we just kind of depend on each other, that we're like a team and take care of each other.
Yeah.
So how has your relationship changed once you got married compared to what it was like before?
For us, I think everyone was pressuring us. By the time we got engaged, we had been together like a decade. So everyone's like, will you just get married already? Like, just do it. Like, what are you guys waiting for? And it really wasn't we were afraid of getting married or anything. I had been really sick for like a long time in our relationship during those 10 years. So it was more of just making sure I was healthy. We were on track. Everything was ready to go. And then to us, really, getting married was a piece of paper and a party to us, we'd already been together 10 years. We felt like a married couple. We were living, we had been living together with each other for over 5 years.
We've moved from apartment to house to apartment numerous times together. So
shared roommates. We had done all of life's experiences together at that point.
Although it may have only been, what are we now? Going on 15 years soon?
15 years in December, yeah.
Yeah. It feels like we're already old and should have grandchildren because of how much work we've done already.
Yeah.
Like, I wake up every day, I'm like, man, am I 35 or am I 55? I'm just like, my body is killing me. So I think for me, it wasn't so much the marriage, and that ceremony was amazing. It was a celebration of our love and
we had a great time.
What I think is more life-changing is having a child.
Yeah.
That's probably been the more challenging portion of our relationship.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to say, like, the last 15 years are pretty damn smooth, and then you get the baby and it's like, holy crap, it's curved and thrown at you.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how much of a stress that puts on everything, especially the relationship.
Well, and I think that's the funny part. It's like, oh yeah, now that I think about it, exactly how you said it, like, life was so much easier, and then Marvel came, and like, it was like, oh my God, we have to work at this 10 times harder.
It got harder, but it's much more rewarding. And I think seeing her now, she's at the age, like we talked about it this morning. Every time you pick her up, she's like, what's this? She's saying this, and she's pointing at everything, and we have all this stuff. So she's like, what is this?
Is your whole house full of stuff also?
Yeah, so she's like constantly, like, we can see her wheels turning, and we see different parts of us, and we're like, oh my God, you are like, we live in an apartment. So like right now, like, our next step is to buy a house and everything. And we keep saying, okay, we'll have another baby when we move into a house. And it's just like, oh my God, like, my ovaries are exploding because she's just so cute. And I want an army of them now because we're just so awesome and we make cute babies.
They'll always end up
Yeah, that's what they tell us.
You can't expect the next one to be exactly the same.
I think for me, the best part is seeing different parts of me that I didn't realize that were me. You know, like I'll see a part of her and I'm going, and like I'll look at Andy, I'm like, no, that's not an Andy value. Oh, crap, that's me. That's me. I'm looking in a mirror, you know? And so I've learned a lot about myself in the last, you know, like year. Oh, well, I am stubborn. I am, you know, like now I know why my dad is, you know, I was a pain in the ass to my dad all those years. Like now I see it. I'm looking at myself.
Does it make you want to change anything about yourself, or like, okay, I like being stubborn and I see that she's stubborn and I think it's so good?
Oh, no, we encourage it. Like he probably not.
I'm laughing because I'm just like, you're digging a hole telling them how stubborn you are. It's like, yeah, I agree. Very stubborn. We all have.
Do you think she's really stubborn?
She can be, but it's because normally she's right. Because, you know, 9.9 times out of 10,
sure,
she gets to say, I told you so at the end of the day, because she's usually right.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why I'm like, yeah, I'm Shannon's husband.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big believer.
More importantly, I'm Marvel's dad.
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer in like, I'm a type A person, like do it right the first time. I don't want to have to do it again and again and again and again, you know? So like, I wear the pants, I steer where everything goes. But he's also the first person to tell me to chill out, and that, you know, like this, like, really, are you going to die on this hill today, Shannon? Is this the hill you're going to die on? You know, like I'll be wound up about something stupid and he'll just look at me and is like, really, is this the issue? And I'm like, you're right. It's forget it. We'll move on. Next subject. So we balance each other out very well.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So back to me. I forgot to mention, I'm more than just Shannon's husband.
What do you do?
I'm a former golf professional locally, not a tour professional. I did long drive contests and I worked at local golf courses in the area and taught many children in junior golf clinics. And I was also a tournament director, working really closely with the members and the local people at the public course I worked at. So did that for a while, and then I moved on to sales, and I'm now working at a security company, which allows me to work from home and have this amazing lifestyle that we have. So thank God for the career I have and falling into that and being able to do things like this and just having fun and being around my wife and daughter every single day is amazing now. I can't imagine going back to work once this is all over. I think things will be different, of course. Things are still up in the air, but for now, I think just enjoying this while we can is my number one goal. And it's awesome to see my daughter grow up and be there, even, you know, for every great moment when she started crawling, standing up, soon walking, and even when she has tantrums, I get to be here for all of it.
Yeah. I think you being home has been like the best thing that kind of helped this year, because like having Marvel was a rough thing, and then just having the extra being home, it was like, okay, well, at least we can, if we're gonna have to survive this, at least we have to survive it together. You know, it's like, okay, we're in the same boat together. We have each other, and but we've always had that mentality. It's always been a team effort till the end of the line, whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they say like people who had a good relationship in the beginning just got better, and people who had a bad relationship just got worse. Do you think that your relationship got better over this pandemic?
Yeah.
Through the pandemic?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And then, like I said, you throw in the 10-time multiplier of having the baby running around and learning that challenge. But it's, like I said, super rewarding. So I don't know. I would say that it's about the same. If I were, you know, same or better. In my opinion, I think it's better, because at the end of the day, I think we've just learned to communicate more, whereas where we were at work, you could, you know, like, okay, well, we'll talk about it later. And eventually you forgot about it and we moved on next subject. When you're at home, like there's no avoiding it. Like if you did. Yeah. Living in an apartment, it's like you can only go so far from each other. And it's like, we're not going to go outside. Right now,
we're in California, so it's all smoke. We're in the Bay Area, so it's super, we've got the wildfires, so you can't go outside because it's smoky. So you either have to live in brooding silence with each other for the rest of the day, or you just hash it out and figure it out and work at it. Like, and I think that's the biggest thing that our relationship always has been, is we've always worked at it. We've never given up. Like, there's no just like, okay, I'm done. I'm walking out. I'm done. It's like, no, you're going to get back here and we're going to have this discussion.
Yeah, you aren't friggin' leaving.
Yeah, you're not leaving. There is no outs.
we got to talk. And that's, I think we learned for sure that when we don't talk, and that's happened a few times, it's backfired. So if we just be proactive in many ways, that is a good rule of life.
Yeah.
It's probably just be more proactive. Don't beg for forgiveness. It's better to ask for permission in many ways. And if you don't get the permission you're looking for, you can still talk about it.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I buy this Funko Pop today, Shannon? Well, it's better we talked about it than it just showing up. Because once it's here, what are you going to do about it? It's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to do that now.
Yeah.
Hard to get out of that situation.
Yeah.
Okay, so besides for just giving your daughter all your genes, she also has really good role models of how to communicate and what relationships are meant to look like.
That's our biggest thing, is that we always remember it's all of our decisions, everything we do is all for Marvel. You can hate me today, you can do it, but I'm doing it for Marvel. A lot of our battles is stuff that we just don't want to do, but in the long run have to be done. I don't want to save money. Well, too bad. Marvel needs a bigger place. It's just, it's more of just making executive decisions together now, where, like before,
a lot of them are tough decisions.
Before Marvel, it was like, okay, we could individually make each other, make decisions for each other and be like, oh, okay, well, you're going to buy this toy. Well, that's fine. I'm going to go buy this, like, okay. Yeah. And now it's like, well, no, there's something we created and she deserves the best life that she can. All right. Well, no, you have to kind of clear these decisions now through me, and we need to make executive decisions. Like her first birthday is coming up next month. All right, we're not buying any more toys after August. We've got stuff coming. We'll save money. Christmas anniversaries are coming up. So it's just thinking things out and talking things through. We were just talking about her birthday. What do we want to do for her birthday? We've been with my parents in this COVID bubble, so we're just going over to their house. They have a 25-acre farm. We're going to just have a barbecue and hang out at the house and have a simple day.
It's fun.
She'll smash a cake.
We'll smash a cake. We'll take some videos and call,
then hose her down, throw
her in the pool.
Throw her in the pool. Yeah, we have this, baby pool that we throw the hose in, and
she has a field day.
She has a great time. She loves it. So
it's just communicating those things. That's the biggest COVID learning thing, I think. Well, and having a baby too. I think it was a crossfire. I mean, we were just coming out of the newborn survival mode when COVID hit. We were just like, oh, okay, we're out of the neck of it. Like, she's on a sleep schedule. She's, like, oh, okay.
And then teeth started coming in. It's like, oh, great, now she's teething. And
yeah. As soon as one thing starts, ends, the next thing starts. There's no break.
Yeah. It's okay though.
Yeah.
It's part of the fun.
Yeah.
Did you think your life would be like this once you had a child?
Some form of this. I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
Not totally blind, but having my wife who's been in childcare for over a dozen years, almost going on 2 dozen.
Yeah.
She is prepared, and I don't think without her I'd be able to have done it.
That was the biggest thing I said when I remember looking at you like 3-4 weeks after she was born, and we were laying in bed, and I look at him and we're exhausted, and I just go, I now know why moms get postpartum depression and anxiety. I ended up being one of those moms too. But at that point I go, I get it. I could not in my brain imagine having zero childcare experience, having this baby, giving birth to it, being, having that experience alone, and literally 24 hours later go home and just be responsible for this child with no experience. Like, my brain could not wrap around it. I was like, oh, I get it now. And at that point I was so grateful for my childcare experience, because I was like, dude, you would be throwing me in the loony bin right now. Like, there's
and throughout all those years, you learned what you liked, didn't like.
Yeah.
We
didn't have to go through that.
Between styles of parenting, just
bottles, strollers.
The types of bottles, the type of equipment you need to care for your kid, what works best.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things we contribute to our success, but if it weren't for Shannon and her experience in it, we would be so lost. Probably spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on things we didn't need, or the wrong things that weren't right for Marvel. And so I think I would have been a lot more lost without her. And I don't know how parents who don't have that much experience with it handle it. Yeah, that opened my eyes. I think everyone thinks it's easier than it is, but Shannon made it a lot easier. I couldn't imagine how hard it would have been without her. That's for me probably the number one thing.
That was the biggest thing.
We didn't give birth to a golf ball, so I
I had she broke my tailbone at delivery, so we just coming home alone, I was already a mess. So like, and when you're a nanny for as long as I am, a lot of people were like, oh, good, you're having a baby. You've got it handled, no problem. And then I think it was week 5 or 6, I'm sitting in the bathtub just crying. I'm like, I am the worst nanny ever. I can't get my child to sleep. But then I remember I have some awesome moms that I worked for who would literally laugh when I would come out of, the bedroom and I'd get their kid to sleep and they'd be like, Shannon, you're a wonder. And she goes, yeah, it just doesn't work with your own kid. And I was just like, they were right. It just doesn't work with your own kid.
Yeah, and you got to remember, just because you were a good nanny doesn't mean it's going to take the same effect as soon as you're a mom. Now you're the mom, you're not the nanny, so you can't assume it's going to be the same.
Yeah, there is no break. There was no, I get to go home at the end of the day and cuddle my dogs and have a nice, glass of wine and call it a day. No, you're on 24 hours. There is no escape. There is no escape. You're on.
Only when she's taking a nap or it's time to bed.
But then because of how OCD and anxiety I was, to tell me to sleep when the baby is sleeping, that was like the worst advice ever. I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, I have a whole business I need to run. I've got stuff I need to queue. I got to get this done. So he was the one person who was just like, no, you're going in the bedroom. If I have to lock you in there to take a nap, you're going to go take a nap. Like, I'm done. I've got the baby. Don't worry about it. I've got it handled. And that was my biggest grace point this year, was just learning to give myself more grace and more like, okay, yeah, you're right. It doesn't need to get scheduled today. That email can wait. It was almost like we had to be dialed down a notch. Before Marvel, it was go, 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 go. I mean, we were going to conventions after conventions every month. He was doing cosplay. We were doing Funko events. I was nannying mostly 50 hours, a week.
Expectations have to change.
Yeah.
And I think realizing that is critical too, is like, you can't just expect everything to maintain, even without a baby, just COVID-19.
Oh yeah.
Things aren't going to stay the same because you can't mentally do it. I know you lose sleep. People aren't sleeping the same way.
You're not exercising. You're not in your normal routine. I mean, even us, we've had to adjust. Normally I've been out walking and would take the, Marvel out on walks. Okay. Now with smoke and COVID, and parks closed, what was I going to do? All right. Now we're doing Nike Fit during nap, trying to get some sense of normalcy back.
And for her, instead of going outside, we're putting in her little, what's that car called?
Oh, the little Tykes car. Yeah. One of those cozy coupes. One of my friends completely redecorated it to be a Captain Marvel car, her godmama.
So I put her in there and we
wheel around the house.
So cute. Bringing the outdoors inside.
Yeah. So it's all about adjusting and change. And we're both very resistant of change. We don't like change. We're very homebody people who like our things a very certain way. So to change, it's got to take a lot.
Yeah. I think I forgot the initial question, if we answered it or not. We went on this amazing.
I don't remember either. It's okay. But my next question is, from a nanny's perspective, what advice would you give to someone who's about to have a baby?
As a nanny, your number one thing is to realize and set realistic expectations. Everyone assumes that you're going to have a baby and everything's going to be rainbows and sunshine. Everyone's going to come help you. You're going to get all this food. That's not that for everybody. Not everyone has that happy experience. And I know for me, especially, I came out of pregnancy with extreme morning sickness. My entire pregnancy, I was literally getting IVs every week. I was miserable. And to go on Instagram and see those perfect, pregnancies and,
it's perfect.
Yeah. And then now flip side, as a mom, seeing all those perfect moms, and I'm just going, yeah, right. You got a nanny who's and so that's like kind of my mission now as a childcare coach is, please do not see what you see on social media is completely a facade. They have nannies. They have this is the reality.
Full-time grandma or whatever.
Yeah, you have people helping them make those dreams happen, So I think going into having a new baby is not setting your expectations low, just being realistic and acknowledging when something happens. Okay, it happens. All right. Yeah, you're right. I maybe had expected us to get a huge food train or something like that, and we got no food whatsoever from friends. And now we're scrambling to try. All right. it's not a crisis. We just have to readjust and making it work. And I think that's where the communication comes key with your partner, because if you're not on, he may be like, oh no, our crisis is this. And I may think our crisis is that. And they're two different things. And if you're not on the same page, you're both going in two different directions. And all right, we'll see you later when we eventually meet back up.
It's like, well, what's your number one priority? I'm like, well,
yeah.
I got to get my work done. I'm
That's
way behind. Or
our number one question every single morning.
I got to go get groceries. I got to.
Yeah. Number one question every morning. What's our priorities for the day? Like, what's our biggest thing? Do you have a crazy day at work where I need to keep Marvel quiet and I shouldn't, like I'm going to work later in the day? Are we completely out of groceries and if someone needs to go before lunch? Or one of us is having a bad mental health day, we're not feeling good or something, and I need a timeout and break, or usually what it comes to is I'm usually stressed and I've got some kind of deadline, and I'll just look at Andy and go, I have a deadline. I got to get this done. Like I have to. And like, it's almost like it's my magic superpower word where he just grabs Marvel and goes, all right, we're going to go play. It's Daddy and Marvel time. And like, I get it done. And he knows the minute I walk out of this room, my brain feels 10 times better. I'm mentally in the zone. And I think that's our biggest guilt, is that we want to give Marvel as much presence and one-on-one time as possible. And, as a work society, it sucks because we're forced to work.
Yeah, and fortunately for me, I can do everything from my phone. And when I'm in meetings, I need to be at my desk. So it makes it a challenge. I have a certain schedule that's different every single day, where Shannon has expectations. She needs to get stuff done. And it's like, well, for her, it seems to be only when Marvel's asleep that she can get stuff really done. Because when I take my lunch break now, yes, we're giving Shannon a break from not being a full-time mom to now, she's going to spend the next 2 hours
taking meetings,
working on her business. But at the same time, it's like, we also are making lunch.
Yeah.
So it's juggling all of that. I don't know how parents do it with kids that are actually in school. I have no clue how they're handling it without any help. You have to have somebody helping you.
Well, the saying is, it takes the village. The problem is that no one realizes that the village doesn't just appear. You have to build the village. Like, you are the creator of your village. Some people are like, I'm lucky my mom's over here right now watching Marvel, having that little person that I can call and go, okay, Mom, I need you to come because I got to record a podcast. All right. She's like, let's go. It's knowing who you can trust and who you can count on in those moments. And knowing that if you're learning that you can't count on that person, then you can't have them in the village. They're not going to give you any use. And that goes back to having realistic expectations. If going in, that person's not going to help you, then don't expect them on the other flip side for something to change. You can't change everybody. You have to just, what is the saying? Like, worry about yourself, your actions, and what you're bringing to the table. Don't worry about anybody else.
I get spoiled. I had great parents growing up because they were so focused on us, and they didn't have cell phones in their hands at all times, right?
But they also weren't being demanded to work, like it wasn't like your dad, now managers and everyone, you get an email and it's like you have to jump and we got to go, we got to get it done.
You respond to 2 minutes afterwards, you're late.
Yeah, they didn't live in that world. It was, okay, you worked 8 to 5, you went home, and you were done.
You checked out. You didn't even talk about work when you went home. It's like, don't bring work home. My home is my workplace now. This is my desk. This is my equipment from the office. Like, this is, can't see it now, but I have a whole nother desk right next to this desk. So yeah, it's hard to separate the two, and you have to find those boundaries. But because I think if without a child, it's a little bit easier because you can get your work done and focus in those hours. During my 8 hours I'm working, I'm also juggling a screaming baby, a wife who needs to get her stuff done. Again, it's about expectations and what can you do
in 24 hours
to do it. And, should I try to get all this stuff done from 8 to 5, or should, certain things that I can't do because I need to maybe spend a half an hour with Marvel to give Shannon a break or whatever it is, that can wait till Marvel goes to bed. Even if, if I'm not going to play video games at 8:00 at night to get my work done, that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
It's like, just because I used to be able to check out I used to get off of work at 3:30 in the afternoon because I'd start at 6 and then I'd be home and focused on Shannon and my phone and the TV and the video games. It's like, there's no time for that. Now it's just Shannon and Marvel.
What are our biggest priorities every day? And
do I need to go finish work because I'm behind? So It's like, all right, crap, I'm not going to be able to eat my ice cream and watch TV this tonight. I'm going to go sit in my office and
Yeah, it
up on
sounds
the
like your
work
life sucks.
Yeah, I know.
because I need to do my job. To me, that's always my number one priority because that's what gives us the life we have right now.
Yeah.
And and gives her some ability to do what she needs to do. I don't want her to have to be a full-time mom. Yes, that would be great if that's what she wants to do, but she wants to be able to run her business and start a second business. And she's a very strong woman, and I want her to do the things she wants to do and not regret it. So biggest challenges we have right now is balancing the job that does kind of keep the roof over our head while we're trying to make this new amazing opportunity for Shannon, and that could even be bigger. So that's the balancing act that I think a lot of families are trying to juggle. Is, you know, I mean, how many times do you watch TV shows and you're like, all right, like The Voice, not to plug anybody, but you watch these things and there's these stories of people who, you know, they had a kid at the age of 20 and they wanted to aspire to be a musician and they didn't do it. And now they're 45 or 50 and they're going on these shows and they're a hit. It's like, you know, I don't want her to do that. And at the age of 50, 55, all of a sudden be like, I want to start my business. So like, no, you're going to do it now while you have the energy and the motivation and the drive to do it.
But you went in we weren't in this mind frame. We were told we weren't supposed to get pregnant. So finding out we were pregnant with Marvel was like, that, like, we had already set up, like, okay, if it's in the cards, it's in the cards, but we were told it wasn't in the cards. So we were like, okay, that's fine. So then we got through the cards and we're like, okay, now we have to readjust and get it done. Mm-hmm. And she has made it for the better. I think she's made it so that we have figured out what is our biggest priorities. Yeah. Like, what, you know, like before it was like, oh, okay, we'll just toddle along. And now it's like, no, we've got to jump on all of this. We've got to get it done.
It's like a second purpose.
Yeah.
You know, people have a career. It's usually what you go to school and you learn what you want to learn and you get your degree and, you know, usually go to college, get a degree and specialize in something. And you go and you do that thing. And I lost my train of thought where I was going with this.
Your recreation degree?
I went off the rails.
Yeah.
You start, you do that, and then all of a sudden
you find something else that makes you happier.
And for us, we both are happy being parents. But it's more than just your career, right?
Yeah, it's your other sub identity.
And that career is the reason you're able to provide for your kid, and the kid drives you to go do the work because you want the best life for your child.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm back on the train.
There we go.
Well, so they feed into each other and they each grow each other to be even better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just a whole nother reason to drive forward and not just be lazy.
Yeah. And we went into, like, I went into almost 4 months I was pregnant when we found out and we went, like, he knew going into the pregnant, like, I'm going back to work. Like, you can't tell me. I'm going back to work as a nanny. Like, as soon as we have Marvel, I'm going. And thankfully, most of these families I've worked for over a decade, they were like ready. They've been waiting for this baby to come. So I was ready to go. And then my tailbone broke. So it took me a little bit longer to recover. And then I literally was just about to step out of this house with Marvel on my back to become back to the nanny life. And COVID hit. And I was like, wow, this sucks. I like to say I built my career and my business. You know, my career is being a nanny. TGON was my business. And now I'm having to pivot my career. I'm doing everything
you're tweaking your nanny career into being a nanny coach and parenting coach because of your experience that is invaluable to us, but would be so valuable to
other people. Yeah. Well, it was just the emails we're getting. Like, I just would have family after family email. What do I do? How do I find, like, people who have never had to hire a nanny before or trying to find childcare in COVID? They're ripping their hair out. There's no, So I became the person everyone was emailing, and I was like, you get to a point when your husband's upset with you because you're taking Zoom calls and they're with clients, and he goes, okay, well, is this helping our family? Like, or are you taking away from Marvel? And I'm like, all right, well, now I've got to start booking and charging people, all right, here's the whole nother process that we've got to go. It all comes back to everything we do is for Marvel. And at the end of the day, we would always want her to believe that she can do anything she wants to do. You want to be an astronaut, you want to open a factory, whatever you want to do, you do it. And she has two parents who are behind him, and she's had a male figure in her life who has shown her that, by supporting me and everything that I want to do, that she can find a person like that, whoever she chooses, whether, whoever it is, that supports her in her dreams to do whatever she wants to do. And I think that's the biggest thing for me always in the back of the mind is, what am I showing Marvel? if I give up and I don't do this, what am I teaching her?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we are not communicating, what are we teaching her? Everything we do, like I said, goes back to, okay, what's the best for Marvel? What are we doing? What's the best for the family? What are our priorities for the day to make our family move one step forward? Yeah, it's not like we're going to go from 0 to millionaire in a week or, in a month or anything like that, but it's little by little we've gotten so far. I mean, we started out when I was 17. I was a baby, and I went through getting massive celiac diagnosis and being in the hospital months and surgeries for a good 3-4 years. I mean, hell and back, but we've gone far. Now we are where we're at, and I'm proud of the work that we've put in.
You talk about a whole nother challenge, just trying to figure out what's for dinner.
Yeah.
Not to make light of
that's
her
usually our
situation,
biggest, that's the biggest fight we have on the day. I'm like,
you answered my question before I got to it.
Yeah. Like, no, I don't want to think about what's for dinner. I've thought about 90 million other things today. I don't want to think about dinner.
It's hard enough to decide on something to eat when you don't have dietary restrictions.
Yeah.
Because
what do you end up eating?
Usually something homemade.
Usually, yeah. Because there's not like there's very few places I can like DoorDash out to. And like right now, only 2 of my like locations have been open.
And we're tired of them.
And I'm so tired of them. Like, I'm just like, I'm over it. So sometimes it's just easier for me to get up and make something.
I got to go grocery shopping.
Or we got to go grocery shopping, like once again, it's okay. What's the priority from the day? And usually we try and figure out dinner is like one of the first things we try and figure out in the day. But usually it isn't until lunchtime. We're like, oh crap, what do you want for dinner? Don't ask me what you want for dinner.
It comes up 3 or 4
just make something. I'll eat it.
Yeah. Yep, and that's usually what happens. We'll be standing in front of the refrigerator. We're like, all right, we got this. What sounds good? None of it. But thankfully, like normally we would just starve. Like we're one of those people who's like, okay, there's nothing good. We would have starved previous to Marvel, but now we're like, we have this ravenous monster that's screaming at us. Now we have to feed it, and she won't take any pureed or anything in a squeezy form now. She's a big girl. Yep. So we've got to make real food. So we can't skimp on it.
Yep.
I'm curious to know what you'll like as a teenager.
If it's anything like me, then I'm scared for my life.
Yeah.
Okay, you have some years to get ready for it.
Yeah, thankfully, yeah.
Okay, last question. What advice would you give to someone who wants to have an extraordinary relationship?
That's a good question.
I think there's a theme that we presented today. Communication, yeah. Expectations.
Yeah.
And discussing them, and if they're reasonable and fair.
Yeah. I think that's our biggest thing. Yeah. Just, yeah.
Yeah, I think just getting to know your partner better, understanding them and what makes them tick,
and not being afraid to ask the questions. Like now if you're married and you're at the point where you're married, you shouldn't be afraid to ask them a question or get their opinion or something. You know what I'm trying to say? Like after I had a baby, Andy's like, I respect you so much more. Like once your husband has seen everything and to experience like postpartum and everything else and understand where I was at, I like, you can't be afraid to ask the hard questions or the like stupid questions like, how was Marvel's poop today? Don't
assume.
Yeah, don't assume.
Don't assume the worst of that person either. Give them the benefit of the doubt, I think, is important.
Yeah, if you don't ask, then you're just assuming. And then if you're assuming, then you've already made up your mind. You've already made a decision on that, and that's not fair to that other person who's the other half of the equation.
Yeah, be open to and provide constructive criticism.
I like that. Awesome summary of all the awesome stuff you just spoke about. Guys, go and follow Shannon and Andy on Instagram at @the_Parolas. I will put all their links in the show notes. Thank you so much, Shannon and Andy. This was awesome. Did you enjoy that episode? Could you do me a personal favor and subscribe and leave a review? It would mean a lot to me. Thank you so much and have an awesome day.